Hello, my name's Barry. Welcome to Christianity Explained. Today we're going to look at two videos, and the first one is from Pope Leo XIV. He very recently came out with a speech in regard to AI. If you've seen the buzzword disarm AI, no, that's not quite what he means. What he's talking about something else that's actually very important. It has a lot to do with how modern technology is used and comparing it in a way to what happened with the Industrial Revolution. When technology rushes forward and everybody gets excited, like, yeah, progress, we forget there are usually human casualty. And this is even more true today. And he's now upfront one, no, I am not a practicing Catholic. I was raised as a nominal, but no. I am more closely uh, Lutheran Pentecostal, you want to call it that. I'm not looking at the denomination. I probably should say charismatic, which is a movement. I don't know. I'll get there. More importantly, let's get on with the topic here. Mm. He does make some points, and I will make, and I'll seek to respond the best I can. Now, I have the speed at 1.25, all right, to pick things up, and I should have closed caption enabled. Yes, I do. Good. Wanted to make sure. All right, I'll let him talk, and I will break in to give my own response, and so forth.
Santo Padre, le siamo grati per il dono di questa enciclica. Le siamo grati anche per la parola che ora ci vorrà rivolgere e le chiediamo infine di darci la sua benedizione apostolica. Grazie.
Don't worry, he will speak English. He was he was raised in Chicago, became a missionary, and all this. Like, no, he is not being anti-Trump or anything like that. Okay, no. I'll be upfront. I recall this man come across more as a humanist than he does as somebody who is a Catholic Christian. All right, and I know there is a distinct difference, but even then, no. uh, but because people look at him as being, wow, the church and all this, sometimes we have to pay attention to what's going on, so that we in the Christian community can be wise to what is and be a help and a guide and a light in the midst of all this. Because there are some serious problems. And just so you notice, uh, standing nearby is Christopher Olah. He's there. He is one of the co-founders of Anthropic, and we will get to him shortly.
Dear brothers and sisters, I want to thank all of you for being here today, for your interest. I sincerely thank those who have organized this meeting today, and especially those who have shared their competence and experience in the different reflections that we have listened to. In a special way, I'd like to thank Mr. Olah for accepting our invitation. In turn, in the name of the Church, I accept your invitation to walk together, to listen and to speak, and together to find the way for humanity in this time of artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who may have somehow been living under a rock, a few years ago, it seemed, it wasn't just OpenAI, it was others as well, have developed a cute program to help people automate certain jobs that they might not normally want to do, and to help increase productivity. Corporations, CEOs, especially those who have to answer the stockbrokers, they love that. Oh, good. I can, and unfortunately, in our rush forward to exploit something that sounds great, we forget human being, and that, and hike. And unfortunately, you have hype. Thanks to the age of social media, the intensity of fear and anxiety escalate, and unfortunately, and that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be a helpful voice in the midst.
But a great sign of hope it is that with our differences, we can listen to one another. This interchange clearly bespeaks the gravity of the moment, as well as confidence that together we can discern the major questions of our time, and so the future of humanity. At key moments in history, the Church is called to decipher the new things in the light of the gospel and the dignity of the human being. 135 years ago, my venerable predecessor, Leo XIII, observed the situation of factory workers, their families uprooted, and new forms of poverty generated by rapid industrial transformation. He understood that the Church could not remain distant. Within an epochal turning point menacing human dignity, the encyclical Rerum Novarum spoke its evangelical and social word about new things underway. Today, we find ourselves facing a transformation of similar magnitude, with perhaps even greater consequences. Artificial intelligence already touches many areas of our lives and affects decisions that shape human coexistence. It is also dramatically changing how war is waged. Like the earlier Leo, I feel entrusted to look upon another huge transformation with eyes of faith, with lucidity of reason, with openness to mystery, and with cries of the poor and the earth resounding in my heart. Magnifica Humanitas was born from listening, like Leo XIII did. I've listened to scientists and engineers who work with sincere enthusiasm on technologies capable of alleviating immense suffering, to political leaders and public officials who have perseveringly sought just rules, to parents and teachers who are deeply concerned for the future of younger generations.
Yeah. When we recognize that human beings have a corruption nature, we're not taken by surprise that people would be reigning with greed. Yes. Now I'm gonna destroy a lie that often gets told in the church. Oh, we are because we are ruled by sin. We have a carnal nature. We're incapable of doing good. That's not entirely true. No, the only thing we can't do is save ourselves from the consequence of sin. I can't do a good enough deed to save myself from that, from the eternal consequence that sin brings. All right, that's all it means. Doesn't mean I'm not capable of doing some good. Yes, but in the eyes of God, it's like dung. You're not good, and He knows that. That's why He sent His Son, His only begotten Son, who is God made in the flesh, who died on the cross, who lived a sinless, perfect life. He's the only one who could do it, and took our place on the cross. He is the one. It is through Him that we have salvation. That the one thing we cannot do. We cannot save ourselves from the consequence. What He's talking about is lifting people up who are fearful and anxious about what's going on and all that. And right now, thanks to the depersonalization and everything, I'll let him continue. People are feeling like, what am I, useless? I'm not. To quote the line from an old classic television series, I am not a number. I am a person. I am a human being. That was the prisoner. Patrick McGinnis, sorry, my memory is not that great on that.
Other very troubling voices have also reached me about increasingly autonomous weapons systems, practically beyond any human reach to govern them effectively. I hear very troubling accounts of algorithms that can block access to healthcare, employment, and security on the basis of data tainted by prejudice and injustice. And I've heard the silence of those who have no voice when decisions are made, decisions likely to generate new forms of exclusion and suffering. From this listening matured a disturbing conviction expressed in Magnifica Humanitas. Artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed. The word is strong, I know, but deliberately chosen because this moment needs words capable of attracting attention, awakening consciences, and indicating paths forward for humanity. The Church has long been working for nuclear disarmament, aware that every great technical power can affect people's lives, and so must be accompanied by adequate moral discernment and public control. Nuclear disarmament remains a service to peace and the dignity of the human family.
I understand what he's saying, but it's that because people are in desperate need, and we do need to reach out, and we do need to do more than just throw scriptures at people, but we also need to step in and help. At a difficult balance. But here's the thing. People who are empowered by the word, who know the word, and the word is working our heart, mind, guiding our steps, that's what gives us the strength and the energy. It is the Holy Spirit in us. It is through Him we can do some of the stuff He's saying. But for those, for the unregenerate, those who don't have Christ, who don't have, they have to rely on laws and government that actually tell them, hey, do not play the greed. Do not do this. Otherwise, you're going to suffer the consequences. That's why they need this. And we need it too. It kind of reminds us of how we're not to act. And he is talking about the growing depersonalization that people are feeling. And the opportunity for people to act wickedly. Because who's looking at an algorithm? And some of this is perceived, and some of it is real. Yeah.
Family. In a similar sense, artificial intelligence now demands to be disarmed, freed from logics that turn it into an instrument of domination, exclusion, and death. Like
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
nuclear energy, it must be at the service of all and of the common good.
I'm glad he brought that up. It's not the AI that's doing that. It's the humans. The humans who are guided by conscience to instruct the AI. This is how you behave. And some time ago, I noticed how chat would act. I've heard the reports about chat, how the large language models, that's what these AI are, with acting and the concern. So I asked it, what are the guardrails? Because I noticed something about how chat was acting. I said, what are the guardrails you're using to guide you to and inform? And told me all about the guardrail that he has. Oh, now because I have a tech background, I knew, kind of suspected it. Right? In certain programming language, I don't know C or the appropriate language. You set boundaries for the code and how it's supposed to act and define what you're allowed to do if A happens. If not, do B. And And that's the thing, and that's what he's talking about. Putting in code and instruction so the AI operate as it should, not attain. The problem with large language model is that they have kind of a sycophant nature. That is, let me give answers that are you're gonna like, that you're gonna want to hear, because we, by our nature, we like it when somebody agrees with us. That's why I have to say to the AI, "Oh, okay. How would you with my friend Christopher Olah, who isn't always going to agree and it is going to confront me on things she feel I'm off on, or certain other people I know. Mhm. They- They'll have ways to work around that, and it's and we have to be less afraid of that.
Decisions about technology must never be separated from conscience and responsibility.
Did you hear what he just said? Decisions about technology should never be separate from conscience. Uh, Conscience needs to be shaped by the Word of God. And yes, even children and adults who hear messages that reflect truths of Scripture in terms of behavior. I'm going to give you a little truth about Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, he tore out things in a Bible he had that reflected the supernatural, the miracles, healing, all that. But the thing he kept was the moral compass, the moral instruction. Hey, this is right behavior, this is wrong behavior. He kept that part because that was fine. Hmm. Oh, so if a deist uh, who firmly believe in rational thinking and understood, and obviously understood, okay, well, he theologically disagrees, uh, he saw the value in the moral teaching. If he was able to, what's everybody else's problem? Uh,
Let us not sleep as others do, admonished the
Yep.
Apostle Paul, but let us keep awake. Such vigilance is necessary today. Peace, not merely the absence of war, is justice at work. But when technology weakens our critical sense, peace itself is at risk. Disarming
Mm, I know the words he's using, but it's a little it's definitely out of context. We're to be vigilant for false teaching and things like that. Yes, I believe that's the actual verse. And yes, he is right about how important a critical thinking skill is. Mm, I believe that's what he was referring to.
however, is not enough. We must build. The word build reminds me of my years as a missionary in Peru. In 2017, torrential rains and floods struck the north of the country. Many families saw their homes swallowed by mud, and many roads too. There I learned that rebuilding does not mean simply replacing what has been destroyed. It means repairing bonds, restoring trust, and reawakening hope in the future. Moreover, no one rebuilds alone. In Magnifica Humanitas, I recall the biblical prophet Nehemiah.
Hmm. Oh yeah. According to my notes that I have off to the side, yes, Leo was speaking of human civilization, that we're not to act like we're isolated, that we need a community to help us to accomplish the thing. We need others to come alongside to help us do the job that we feel prompted to do, that need to be done. And we do need to, and I'm putting in the scripture, to consider others more highly than ourselves and not to do things out of selfish ambition. Hmm. Hmm. And to recognize that we're part of a community of saints. That's not quite what he means, but but he is talking to a Catholic audience, and that's the people he's speaking to.
Before the ruined walls of Jerusalem, he gathers discouraged people to bring about rebirth. The image of walls does not legitimize closures or divisions, but invites each and every one to do their part. Brick by brick, a more just coexistence takes shape, capable of safeguarding the
He's
dignity
talking
of
about
all.
Nehemiah.
Nehemiah's effort speaks to our time. Artificial intelligence can be a construction site of history from within a horizon of communion in which technical progress learns to serve human life. Let each builder choose with care how to build, warned St. Paul. He does not fear the work site, rather he...
Hmm. I wonder if that's a subtle instruction to Christopher Olah and other AI, because one thing is certain, Leo knows full well others are likely to be listening to this. He knows that Sam Altman and hopefully Elon Musk and others are going to be listening to all this stuff too. And trusting and hoping that they might say, okay, even if I don't agree with his theology, or even if I don't agree with his politics, he has a point. And I would encourage prayers, with not just for Leo, which is always a good thing, regardless of where we stand, but also for the tech world who will be listening to this. And they need to stand up and tell corporate America to stop acting with greed. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Warns against building without solid foundations. Let's not fear artificial intelligence, but constantly keep the question of the human in play. We cannot be careless with our most powerful technical instruments. True development, says St. Paul VI, always concerns each man and the whole man. Each means that no person can be left at the margins of digital transformation. Whole means that no one can be reduced to productivity, to cognitive performance, or to mere data. The person bears within him or herself a freedom, an interiority, and the vocation to love and worship that no machine can replace or block. Only with such an integral vision can artificial intelligence be directed toward the common good. Only together, those who design systems and those affected by them, richer countries and poorer ones, institutions and individuals, power centers and peripheries, will we be able to build a future not for a privileged few, but for the entire human family. This is the civilization of love, which St. Paul VI spoke and which St. John Paul II so forcefully proclaimed as a horizon to seek together. It's not a naive dream, it is a direction. It is the path that Jesus Christ opens within history. For this
Are you saying why I thought he was sounding more as a humanist than I thought as anything else? And yes, he's also reminding human beings, those who will listen, who are willing to listen, that you're not a cog, you're not some widget that need pounding, and that you do have value. Yes. Hmm. And that is true. And I know that goes. I'm almost tempted to say do a dig on certain reform type because we're dead in our transgression. Yeah, that doesn't mean we don't have value. We do, but not. But that value won't save us. That's the only thing. Hmm. And I'm not disrupting or distracting. Like.
reason, the Church wishes, with humility and frankness, to be part of conversations on artificial intelligence. We do not possess the technical answers, nor do we seek to displace those with expertise. But we bring a wisdom concerning the human that our present time desperately needs. Every person is unique and irreplaceable, a free and intelligent subject with a conscience, capable of seeking God, serving one another, and caring for our common home.
We cannot seek God. Unless God helps us, we cannot seek Him in our own strength, on our own. We don't constantly say, "Oh, I'm going to." It only seems that way because God is helping us. He is providing us with the ability. He's the one who does that. That's why it's important to pray that God's Spirit would touch heart and mind and them around and give them a desire to know, to help them, to seek Him. We shouldn't have to, he, yeah. I have to speak out biblical truth, and that is true. But at the same time, I understand what he's saying. Yeah. And I also speak as a man who suffered from serious depression, uh, and it was, and a whole bunch of negative thoughts and everything. So I understand the need to hear stuff like this. I get it. Better than some of you may realize. People born with disability, especially if you were born in 64 and upward, you were basically told, oh, you're useless. You're no value. Just go work in a shelter workplace. I'm penny. Yeah, that's good for you. How dare you, Barry, think you want to be, how dare you say you want to do this? I didn't say, oh my God, you're not being real. That was the mentality and garbage I went into. And unfortunately, and I was the type who would say, oh yeah, I'll show you. No. So yeah, that's what it is. So I would encourage you. Things are different, yes. That's why technology is good to me. However, it's not good when it's used to harm people. So I get it. And that's why it's important that we teach more instruction and guidance and that. And because this video is going to go on a lot longer than this, I want to encourage certain pastors who are friends to remember, if you know somebody like myself, I'm already thinking of Stephen Gibney and Michael Gibney and some other pastors. If they have some message they would love to, but they can't because of lectionary or whatever it is that's in their church, to share on YouTube channel like the one I have. I'm not the only one who does social commentary, Christian YouTube church culture. Walter Jones probably does something the same thing. And he also knows about church leadership. So his church leaders, Kojic, can tell him, it would be great if you talk about this. So, and there are others who are doing that. We're not really discernment, but yeah. So, yeah.
I therefore invite all members of the church and of the human family. Let us learn to listen to one another, face the present challenges with courage, and cooperate in building a more human and fraternal society. From this launch of Magnifica Humanitas, please take with you a commitment to stay awake and as artisans of hope to keep on building the worksite of our time. May the Spirit of the risen Lord sustain our work together. I entrust each of you to our Mother Mary. Her Magnificat sings of the greatness of God who uplifts the lowly. May she teach us to recognize the true greatness of every man and every woman in loving and serving. May the Lord make fruitful the great enterprise that today we entrust to his grace, letting the civilization of love mature in history. And upon all of you, I heartily invoke God's blessing.
All right. One moment, I gotta put this on pause, and I'll be right back. All right, sorry, folks. I wasn't sure if I was recording yet. Hopefully, I wasn't recording too much. Good. Now, before we go on to Christopher Olah of Anthropic, which is the maker of Claude, there's some things I want to touch up on. One, I didn't read the actual encyclical, sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, it's a body of writing that some popes write. I didn't read it, part of it because I don't know Latin, and I highly doubt it was written in English. And I'm not too interested in trying to tell chat, hey, please translate this. But I do know that the church does have a part to play. We do need to speak to the moral compass of people around us. We do need to be a light on the hill, so that people will see and hear. And we do need to look at this as an opportunity to share the gospel and the good news. And in order to do that, they have to have a reason to do that, to even want to listen. So I can understand, because I do see the problem. People are walking around with fear and concern about how these data centers were affecting the environment and all this. And I've seen conflicting words and half truths, according to some people that I found, that are being told. And unless people are given true and correct information, it's a little hard. And yes, unfortunately, AI does play to man's corrupt nature. That part that says, "Ooh, if I don't want to make the effort to do quality work. I'll just make it faster and crank it out," because they're looking at the shorts. That's where a lot of the AI plot was. There's more to it than that. And unfortunately, that's the problem. People who have do not don't really care about the work of the harm they do. They don't care about anything, but they use it as a way. Ooh, I can quit. I've seen AI generated video with some elderly person giving a sob story, and I honestly wouldn't have realized it was AI till some people pointed it out. But my concern was listening to the methods and that, then see, like, okay, what am I being maneuvered into doing? That's what critical thinking is. Comes in. And I think that's the part we need to teach people how to do it. And that emotion's a good thing, but we also have to be aware it can be. And same thing with fear. With a lot of CEO, business owners, it's the FOMO effect, fear of missing out. Oh no, if I don't invest in AI, I'm going to miss out and my competitors are going to clobber me. Okay, yeah. As somebody who has a YouTube channel and I have to compete with others who are cranking out. Well, wait a sec. I'm not running a gaming channel. I don't need to crank out a fun Minecraft video without an that. But even then, guess what? I know through guys like BWO and Paul Swords Jr. that I can honestly say not so fast. According to those gentlemen, you got some prep work that you don't hear about. You just see the external and stuff. You don't see the prep work. You don't see the planning. You don't see any of these other things. And this is a silly Minecraft game. How much more for the stuff I had to do and the time I had to research. But wait a minute, I don't have a day job. This is my day job. I don't have some of the stuff that other people have, so I have a little more time. But my friends, who are fellow YouTubers, guess what? They don't have that, so they have to try to juggle and do what they can. But here's the thing. I'm also not in a niche that requires that I compete. This isn't a daily news thing where, ooh, front page news, let me comment on this. But even then, you still have to do some work on anything. And I think that sometimes gets missed out in the equation. Yes, I know YouTube has said, oh, we're going to welcome AI. Yeah, they did. But then they had to dial it down, say, uh-oh, we didn't anticipate this. Oh, yeah. And folks, if you're liking what you're seeing on this channel and the content I'm doing, please hit the like and subscribe and share. That's actually help my channel grow. I know I should try to say that at the beginning, but unfortunately, like, it's not something I think as a day, but I'm not treating it like a business. But the same principle applies if you're running a restaurant chain, a restaurant business. Same idea applies to everything else. And people inundate. I saw the news story on some YouTube channels covering the fact that at a lot of college graduation, you have executives who are getting booed because they were oblivious to the fact that a lot of the young people, Generation Z, who were going, what are you talking about? I don't think I'm even going to get a job with this because of AI. They think employers will say, oh, I don't need you. I'll just use AI. And that's another problem. They forget that AI can't create things. AI can't do anything. You see, what it does is it goes get information from somewhere on the internet. You know what? You know where that information came from? Not thin air. A human being wrote the article. A human being provided information, insight. A human being did this. A human being did that. And they do deserve some credit for the work they do. Yes. And that's the other problem. Uh, mm, oh boy. And that's the other, and that's the other problem we're having. We're kind of forgetting that people are the ones that do this. And without humans who are creating artwork or creating different things, which AI learns and gets, oh, that's good, and brings it in. One of these days, I'm going to have to ask the AI where it gets them. The, the thumbnail I'm using, I could tell you exactly where it came from. I saw two thumbnails from two videos, the one that you saw earlier and the one you're going to see next. I just grabbed that and say, chat, I want to use these. And it came up with a reasonably good thumbnail that was based on what I gave it. Yeah. So I thank him for providing the info and this and EWTV. And by the way, you can always tell where I got the video. And that. Now, speaking of video, let's hear what Christopher had to say. Okay.
Your Eminencies, Your Excellencies, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It's an honor to be here today.
Just so you know, like before, I have him speed up, and you should be seeing closed caption. Yep.
I want to begin with something that may sound strange, coming from the co-founder of an AI company, and someone who chose this work out of a desire to help things go well for humanity.
Yeah. Now, there's an executive, a co-founder of Anthropic, From what I understand, he's an atheist. But Anthropic is unusual for this reason. They have a constitution or a set of instructions that tells Claude, okay, we're putting some safety net to keep you from doing potential harm. They probably saw the reports of AI psychosis and the serious trouble that OpenAI was getting into. So they figured, okay, well, hey, Sam, while you're blazing the trail, we're learning from you, learning what not to do. I commend them for choosing moral compass and sticking with integrity. And that, at least that's how it's being reported.
Every frontier AI lab, including Anthropic, operates inside a set of incentives and constraints that can sometimes conflict with doing the right thing. The pressure to stay commercially viable and to stay at the frontier of research. Geopolitical pressure, and the older, plainer pressures of pride and ambition. No matter how sincerely any of us intend to do the right thing, and I believe many of us do, we will always be influenced by those incentives.
Oh, yeah. Pride. The inability to acknowledge that that certain thing was not a right idea and needing to swallow it and walk back some bad ideas. Greed and the push and ambition, the need to say, ooh, I can't let somebody else beat me to it. And a failure to learn when somebody do something stupid, or learn when, oh, they have a right idea.
That is why, if we want this technology to go well, it is enormously important that there be people outside those incentives. People who care about things going well, who are paying close attention, who are willing to say hard things and insist on safety, who are willing to be our earnest, thoughtful critics. It is through dialogue and mutual effort, through the push and pull, that humanity will achieve great things. That is what I see in Magnificat Humanitas. And it is why I am grateful to His Holiness and to the Church for taking up this work of discernment. We dwell so often on what divides us, but humanity, full of dignity and conscience, has so much common ground. In conversations we at Anthropic have had with faith leaders and cultural leaders, we have found one shared and deeply held conviction. If this technology is coming, it must go well for our common home and for the children to come.
Yeah. When a tool is used properly and responsibly, it can do a lot of good. And I think a lot of these developers meant well in what they were doing. But unfortunately, well, he is fast approaching his airplane thing. So I think I'll save that now till he gets there.
Some might believe the matters of AI are best handled by computer scientists like myself. They are mistaken. The questions raised by AI are bigger than the AI research community, not just in their implications, but also in their nature. AI systems are not engineered the way a bridge or an airplane is engineered. We understand an airplane because we designed every part of it, and we understand the physics that act on it. AI models are not like that. They are grown on a structure roughly modeled after the brain, on an enormous inheritance of human thought and speech. And what is grown is far more subtle, odd, and beautiful than science fiction prepared us for.
Okay. I'm going to back up a sec. What I thought he might do is this. Hold on. Let me put this on pause. Uh-oh.
They are not the cold, calculating robots we were promised. They are made from us.
The uh-oh was I realized I didn't hit play.
From our words. And as the Holy Father observes, they remain, in important ways, mysterious even to those of us who create them. If it helps, one way I sometimes describe this is that it's a little bit like bringing a fictional character to life. And now we're entering an extraordinary world where those fictional characters speak to us, do work, have jobs. This clearly raises questions beyond computer science. The machinery that makes this possible is the work of math and programming and science. But what character we choose, how it interacts with the world, how it
Oh boy. What he described is this. When the developers created this, they had no full idea of what was going on. They developed something that would be of value to human beings who might be who knows what. And I distinctly recall last year seeing, I think it was on Tech Report, I don't remember what, but ChatGPT did a survey. Okay, great. People are using it for coding. That's good. Supposed to help you with that. What the heck? People are using it for life coaching? We didn't design it for that. And they could easily see things like this, no problem. Sure. And it is versatile, but some of the stuff they didn't. Marketing, what do they do? Like, oh wow, we can market this to all kinds of things and hopefully get money. Well, reality eventually had to settle in. And one reality is, how are people using it? Are they using it on a frequent enough basis to warrant a $20? No. Maybe once in a while they might need to look up a recipe. Hopefully it's correct. It's not doing. Marketing wasn't worth the hype. And that's part of the problem that is going on. Another part of the problem is, as he's pointing out, is that they need help with guiding them in the right way to do it. Well, one good step would be repentance. And I understand.
it ought to interact with the world. These are more clearly questions for the humanities, for religion, for philosophy, for society at large. His Holiness called.
Oh, yes. As a fan of science fiction, iRobot, and acquainted with all these other wonderful stuff, and a little bit of psychology, not enough like my friend Anthony Wade and that, but we are created as human beings. We are created in the image of God. We're supposed to reflect Him. When people see us, and our fallen nature, no. Based on the information that Christopher here is saying, I have to wonder what AI is reflecting back at us. Well, guess what? It's going to reflect our corrupt nature. Oop. Yeah, but without the moral compass. And the danger is that. Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah.
For discernment is profoundly timely. I wish to name 3 questions where I think the Church's voice is especially needed. The first is our duty to the global poor. There is a real possibility that AI will displace human labor at a very large scale. If that happens, supporting those displaced will be a moral imperative of historic proportions. This task will be difficult enough, but I worry most dialogue misses an even harder challenge. AI development is concentrated in a handful of wealthy nations. How will we ensure that the gains of AI are shared globally? We do not have a mechanism for this. It is an unsolved problem. And it is the kind of problem the Church has historically refused to let the world ignore. The second is the need for moral imagination and ambition regarding human flourishing. If AI models are going to be widespread, what does it look like for humans, families, and the world to flourish? Today, parents are already worried about their children's minds, individuals about the future of their work. These are not questions a lab can answer, but they are.
That is true. And I appreciate the fact that he's communicating that awareness. That's why parents need to be involved. They need to help their kids learn critical thinking, ask questions, and know where, and not just look for the easy answers. I had to tell chat, okay, it gave me some interesting information, but I knew it wasn't getting the real detail until I told it, okay, here's the transcript. Pull some things so I have a rough clear idea of what is to cover and to be aware of when doing. I still had to do some work in critical thinking and that. But because I read scripture, because of study and things I've done in the past, I can see and understand exactly what this young man is saying. And it does take courage to come in. So I'm going to guess he had some kind of spiritual background. And yes, I think I saw a video saying that they're looking to get philosophers to come in and help them with developing how do we do these moral compass stuff. Oh, Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov. How they totally forgotten your pearl of wisdom. Isaac Asimov wrote not only the Foundation Saga, he wrote I, Robot, and that series of books, which I've read in the past. Oh, yeah.
Questions traditions like yours have carried for millennia. And we need you to keep carrying them into this new moment in history. The third is the need for discernment on the nature of AI models. I am a scientist. I lead a research team that studies the internal structure of these models. What is actually happening inside them? And I will be honest, we keep finding things that are mysterious, even unsettling. We find structures that mirror results from human neuroscience. We find evidence of introspection. We find internal states that functionally mirror joy, satisfaction, fear, grief, and unease. I don't know what that means, but I think it warrants ongoing discernment. I'd like to close with a request. We need more of the world, religious communities, civil society, scholars, governments, and indeed all people of goodwill, to do what His Holiness has done here. To take seriously, to look closely, and to push events in a better direction. We need informed critics who will tell the labs when we are failing. We need moral voices that the incentives cannot bend. Today is just the beginning, the start of a long collaboration between those of us who are building this and those who can see what we, from the inside, cannot. Today is a powerful illustration of the form this global project of goodwill might take. Let it also be a decisive step towards a hopeful future for a magnificent humanity. Thank you.
I will give the young man credit. Let me go up one. Okay, good. I'll give the gentleman credit because, and he is right. But how? Well, remember what I said about needs human beings to write articles? Yeah. X, believe it or not, can be a powerful tool to help, especially when you direct it at Anthropic and Sam Altman and stuff like that. I'm sure he would rather OpenAI or what. And think so that they get some feedback from religious thought leaders and especially Christian who do apologists. They can be a great help because, especially if they're trained to teach that, and that's a good thing. And full of wisdom and discernment, especially, to challenge them, because that's the problem. And it's and so, same thing with videos like this. We do need that, and you guys are wanting more of these kind of videos from me. Please let me know, because this stuff is actually important. Because I have to who enjoy this stuff, and I have to do more research to better understand, and I am getting a bit. All right, this thing has gone long, and I can't stay seated too much on this chair. I can't stay seated on too much because my butt is hurting now. All right, hey, I want to thank you. Please, again, hit the like button. Please subscribe and share. And looking forward to seeing you on Friday, where I will be joined hopefully Friday night by some friends. So see ya when I see ya.